We have also Esther Wahome. We never talk about her. Okay, she never talks about herself. Beyond her music, we just don't know anything else about Esther Wahome. And sometimes it usually feels like at the peak of her career, she just dipped. And we didn't know where she went. We know Esther Wahome, we know Kuna Dawa, Kuna Dawa. As in, this was a late Christian music season. Esther Wahome, Sarah Kay, Angela Chibalonza. There was the other babe who jumps from one end of the screen to the other. Who's the babe who jumps? Who's the babe? Fine girl.
Tanzanian girl.
Yeah.
Damn, I've lost her.
I've lost it. But, anyway, and she's giving us a reason as to why she kind of dipped or kind of went off screen for a hot minute. And it's because of the birth of her second child, her second born son. She says at the height of her career, she found out she's pregnant. She gives birth to this beautiful child, and then 2 years later, they realize he actually has autism. And at the time, back then, at the time, autism is viewed as, oh, damn, that's like...
I'm a cheesy. That's pretty much it.
Done for you. It's not like these days when somebody has autism, you're like, oh, so you have a spicy personality or something. As in, you can't compare the way people viewed autism right now versus back then. And it felt like such life-changing news and such a prison sentence for her. And she says she just had to focus on raising her child. And even as she had discovered the new diagnosis of her son having autism, she got pregnant at the same time. He's 2 years old, he's been diagnosed with autism, and then now she's pregnant. So now you're just nervous. You're like, is this going to happen again? Is it going to be a repeat of what I'm going through now? So it was a very difficult time for her, to be honest. And just the fact that she never shared this with anyone, she just dealt with it very privately with her family. She says one of her friends, gospel musician Sarah Kay, was one of those people who are pillars for her. They just held her down, walked through with her the whole journey through. But she says there were certain friends, close friends of hers at the time, that really broke her spirit when they said certain things about her. Let's remember it's the time where she is singing Kuna Dawa. Exactly, like the power of the blood can cure anything. This song is a hit, it's everywhere. And then also with her ministry, she is praying for people, she is delivering people, she's praying people over sickness. And she overheard a conversation between her very close friends talking about how can she say Kuna Dawa, how can she be preaching over other people, yet she can't cure her son. And she says that was one of those like nails, the final nail on the coffin. And she was just like, I can't do this anymore. I need to just focus on my children right now. And then if at a later time I have the grace to continue with this music career, well and good. But it's so sad that this kind of hate and that kind of discrimination actually came from her closest friend. Coming from social media and from random people who are projecting, that's a whole different ball game. But your closest friends peddling such lies and such narratives about you is so heart-wrecking. And I really feel for her. But she's such a beautiful soul. She's still as beautiful as she was back then. She never ages, by the way. So just to say, she's just a good person. Good people don't age like milk. She's very beautiful. And I'd love to see more from her, from Esther Wahome. More music, more content. I just hope she's ready to finally put that out.
Yeah, I watched, I think, part of the interview that she'd done, and she said something that actually struck a chord with me, because she said that she wasn't sure what the problem was with the child. Like, she knew that the child there was something going on because he didn't speak. And as we all know, well, if you do not know, autism is a spectrum, just like many other things. There's a spectrum of autism. There are some kids who are autistic and they'll pick up one habit and drop another. For example, I will learn how to speak, but I will have a problem with something else. And then when I learn a new skill, I will learn that and then I will drop something else. And it's very confusing for you to understand what's going on. So when the kid was like 2, he can't speak, she at first thought, maybe he's just a late bloomer. And she consulted her family and they were like, yeah, actually boys don't speak early. But when the kid got to like around 4 years old, she's like, 4 years old and he's still not talking, something is definitely wrong. And then she actually took the route of going to a doctor. See that? I feel like a lot of people need to start doing that. let's not sit down with something because everyone else, the general public, is giving us their own form of advice based on their own experiences. Children and people, just like humanity, we are all different. We all have our own things going on. I feel like if something presents, especially with a child, and you don't understand it, it's okay to actually go to a doctor as early as possible. You know, it's better to go to a doctor, get that, whatever the thing is, the paranoia you have, get that squashed, than you waiting until it's maybe a little too late and you could have done something better. You know, or you could have done something, but now you're too late. It's very vital that you take your children to doctors early enough, and when they present any form of symptoms that are not normal. Like a kid is just coughing and coughing and coughing and you're like, we are nakohoanga. Do you know what I mean? A kid is always falling and they can't see well and you're like, we are nakwanga clumsy too hivyo. Take them to hospital. They could have a disorder that is causing them not to. There's so many issues with children. The kid could have fallen at some point and you didn't even see, and now they've messed something in their brain and you don't know because you've not taken them to hospital. It's very vital to keep up with the appointments. And that said, let's also let's demystify these different autoimmune diseases and any form of disease that you don't understand that at any moment. If you don't understand something, before you start, yapping away, you're like, yeah, I do that because I have that, or self-diagnosis. Let's just be keen on learning what diseases are, what problems are, and be informed before you start giving misinformation to the rest of the people. It's very, very vital that you learn it. If you are feeling unwell, if you're feeling like something's not right, you watch too many videos on TikTok and now you decided you have ADHD, actually go to a doctor. Find out whether you actually have ADHD, again, which is a spectrum. Very vital. Moral of the story, if you feel like something's not right, go to a doctor, go to a specialist, try and get answers. And I know it can be expensive. I know it can be expensive, but there are clinics where you can get free checkups. So just, if you can, please try. That's the takeaway. Esther Wahome, we miss you. Please give us more music. I can't even imagine that we went bila kunadawa for that long. You know what I mean? Such a beautiful voice.